the final question I was going to ask you before you guys had to go was related to what you said, that the Shanghai Exchange actually began topping out well before any of this trouble with the euro happened, and it's down, I think, 20% from its high already.
Yes.
So,
Right.
in your context, does that make it a bargain right now? And the second question was, with all the currency trouble in the euro and obviously the huge issue in the States over the value of the Chinese currency, what's the discussion like there right now about the renminbi?
Okay, well, the first part is whether or not to buy or not. I think it's very, very, very tricky and spotty. We talked to some of these guys, and these one fund manager in particular I'm thinking of, they have an excellent track record. And if you just talk to him in a big picture sense about investing in Chinese securities, he's very negative. But he gets very excited about very specific things. So there are some themes that pull out that they seem to like other than others. They're not into the industrial stuff where they think there's a lot of the bubble and extra government-led investment is. But for something like food, there's all kinds of quirky opportunities opening up here. The growing of fruits and vegetables is one they pointed out was big. Apparently here it's easy to get a monopoly on growing certain kinds of fruits. So if you could have like somebody who grows blackberries, he might be the only guy who grows blackberries for hundreds of miles around, and apparently it's a very good business because as the Chinese middle class expands and as they have more money, one of the first things they change is their diet, and so they eat a little more meat and they eat a little more fruits and vegetables. So this is an area where there's tremendous demand and there's not a lot of capacity yet. So that was one area, and they mentioned hogs as being another potential interesting area. So yeah, I think what we'll develop is you'll see certain themes, but it's going to have to be something that you're going to have to be pretty particular about because there's also a lot of badly run companies, and a lot of companies that tie directly to the bubbly areas that we've been talking about. And then to the second point you asked about the euro and the currency questions, that's big here. And we've asked everybody we've met with what their opinion is on the renminbi and whether or not it's going to be revalued or not. And this has been probably, interestingly enough, the most polarizing question we've asked people. We've heard everything from the renminbi is actually overvalued to it being undervalued. And so I think, as Addison was saying one day over dinner, that is indicative of a market where there's a lot of confusion. And I think on the currency question, there's a lot of confusion there. I mean, we had some, and it was interesting watching these guys have some pretty impassioned debates about whether it was undervalued or not. Right. And the arguments they would use, they would compare, like, let's see, what does a comparable dinner cost in Beijing and versus if you went to a U.S. city or another Chinese city, or what it would cost you to buy a certain property. So it's hard to draw conclusions there. But it does seem that the euro crisis has, at least for the moment, eased some of the pressure on the Chinese government to strengthen their currency, because it is, in fact, it has strengthened against the euro anyway. And so also I think softness in Europe probably means that the Chinese government here loses some of its resolve as far as, probably doesn't want to tighten too much or mess with things too quickly. So I'd say that's where we are there. But that's definitely probably the most murky area we've been in.
Yeah, is that a worry for people there? With the talk is that the euro could go to parity against the dollar, but Europe is China's second largest export market, and the renminbi has been appreciating against the euro, which makes Chinese exports to Europe more expensive. So you're getting more expensive products in a region that's likely entering a recession. So is there anxiety there that could be negative for exporters?
Yeah. Are you there? I lost you, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How much of that question did you get?
I think I got it. Yeah, I mean, as to the worry over the European market, I think was either yesterday or today, the front page of the China's Daily was all about that. So there's definitely some concern that a soft Europe is going to hurt China export business. So again, like I say, actually, the discussion in the paper I saw today was 4 to 5% was what people had thought before the European crisis started, and now maybe you're looking at 2 to 3% increase, and maybe not until the beginning of next year. So the European crisis has definitely had an impact in the way the Chinese government is thinking about the currency, and it definitely has people here worried about what that means for China's export machine.
All right. Well, how much longer are you there for, and when do you get back?
We're only here for a week, so we made the most of it. We've been pretty much hit the ground running. Literally, when we landed, care for Kia, and these are just enormous operations. And we're here all week, and then we're headed back home on Saturday, and we'll start putting all this together and writing it up. And we hope to put together something for our readers to share with them some of the investment ideas we've uncovered.
Okay.
In my newsletter, Mayor's Special Situations, we plan to put together something very, very soon.
Okay, well, that just in case you didn't get that, people, it's Chris Mayer, the editor of Mayor's Special Situations. He's on a tour of China right now with Agora Financial director Addison Wiggin, and Bill Bonner, who apparently really enjoyed the Peking duck last night, according to his notes.
Yeah, it was really something.
All right, Chris, well, thanks for taking the time to talk with us, and have a safe trip.
Great. Thank you, Dan.